David Montgomery had everything a man could dream of: millions in the bank, a successful tech startup, luxurious properties across the country, and exotic cars most people only saw in movies. But none of it mattered when the one thing he truly desired continued to elude him: love. Not the kind that leaned on status, but love rooted in sincerity. He'd been married once, young and wildly optimistic. That marriage ended in heartbreak, leaving him to raise his twin daughters, Ava and Arya, on his own. The girls were now 9, clever, joyful, and far wiser than their years. They were David's entire world, and if he was ever going to open his heart again, it had to be to someone who could love, not just him, but his girls as well. Too many women had come and gone, charmed by his wealth, fascinated by his name, but uninterested in the man behind it. So David made a bold decision. He would go on a blind date. As a broke, struggling single dad, he didn't tell his date about the Bentley he drove or the mansion he owned. Instead, he borrowed his old rusted-out Toyota from storage and dressed in worn jeans and a hoodie. No cologne, no fancy watch, number, bodyguard. Just a regular man with 2 daughters and a hopeful heart. His friend had set up the blind date with a woman named Alana, school counselor who'd recently moved to town. She's different, his friend said, real grounded, not into flash. David arranged the date at a small cafe on the edge of town, a place where people went to have deep conversations, not Instagram photo shoots. He brought Ava and Arya with him, but not as his daughters. They were going to help him with his little experiment. Pretend I'm just a friend from the neighborhood, David told them, kneeling to meet their curious eyes. I want to see if this lady likes Mitha, real me. The girls giggled. You're being weird again, Daddy, Ava said. But they agreed. They loved their dad and wanted him to find someone who made his eyes light up again. When Alana walked in, David was instantly struck. She was beautiful, but it was the kind of beauty that came from peace. She wore a simple sundress and minimal makeup, but her eyes were kind, and her smile warmed the room. David stood, smiled nervously, and shook her hand. Hi, I'm David. Thanks for meeting me. They ordered coffee and pastries. David told her he was between jobs, that he was raising 2 girls alone, and lived in a modest rented apartment nearby. Alana didn't flinch. In fact, she leaned in. Raising twins by yourself. That's no joke. That tells me more about your character than any job ever could, she said, as they chatted. Ava and Arya peeked from their table nearby, playing their role as random neighbor kids. They occasionally interrupted the date with playful questions, requests for napkins, or silly jokes. David watched closely to see how Alana would react, and she was remarkable. She talked to the girls with patience and warmth, asked about their favorite books, and even offered to help one of them tie her shoelace. At one point, Arya accidentally spilled juice on Alana's dress. Alana just laughed. It's just juice, sweetheart. No worries at all. When a homeless man came by the cafe window, Alana was the only one who noticed. She quietly stepped out, handed him her untouched sandwich, and came back without saying a word. David sat in stunned silence. Here was a woman who didn't bat an eye at struggle, who treated his daughters like they were family, and who gave, even when no one was watching. After 2 hours, he couldn't take it anymore. I need to be honest with you, David said, his voice trembling. My name is David Montgomery. I own Montgomery Tech. I'm not broke. I live in a mansion. And those girls, he pointed to the twins, they're not neighbor kids. They're my daughters. Alana blinked. I wanted to know if someone could love me for me. Not the cars, not the money, not the lifestyle. Just me, and I've never seen anyone treat my girls the way you just did. For a moment, Alana said nothing. Then, she smiled softly, gently, without judgment. I didn't come here looking for money. I came because I was told you were a good man, and everything I've seen today proves that true. The twins ran up and hugged her, now bursting with laughter. Can we stop pretending now? We like her. David laughed, tears forming in his eyes. Yeah, we can stop pretending. 1 year later, the sun was setting over the hills behind David's estate. The backyard was decorated with fairy lights, roses, and a banner that read, Will you be our mom? Alana walked outside to find Ava and Arya in matching dresses, holding a velvet box between them. David stood behind them, in a crisp suit, eyes brimming with emotion. He knelt. Alana, will you marry me? She gasped, then laughed through her tears. Yes, of course, yes. The twins squealed, jumping into her arms. They had all found what they were looking for, not in money, but in meaning, in family, in real love. And David never had to pretend again.